Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is another hype match for ThanksGrappling. It is Valiente Ollie Cannoli taking on the Greasy Green Gigolos, as they are now known, Piccolo and Reptile. I am the colonist. Let's get it going. I am so excited, folks. November 24th. We've said it before. November 24th, ThanksGrappling, a huge one-day event, but it's going to have some major matches on it. You heard it in the last video that we did on Halloween, but just to reiterate, we got John Cena and Jack Black. We've got Dirty Wah defending the CIW tag titles against Incredizone. We've got Wario versus Satan for the World Heavyweight Championship. It is all on November the 24th, Thursday at Thanksgiving, 9 o'clock Eastern. 5 o'clock Pacific, or 6 o'clock, whichever, 6 o'clock. It is 6 o'clock Pacific, but no matter where you are, coast to coast, I talked all the way through. I've done Chatterbacks my way all the way through Valiente and Ollie Cannoli. Here comes Reptile, who is still a little bit confused at the concept of what a tag team is. You know, I was asking him what it's like to team up with Piccolo, and Reptile, he was like, well, he gave me a shirt. I didn't really wear it. I'd really like to just spit acid balls at people and win. And I understand that. That's definitely a vibe. I feel that. He really likes Skrillex's song about him. We found out he's obsessed. That's all he listens to when he works out in his pit, when he's just throwing acid balls at rats and shit in the sewers. That's what he likes to listen to. That's basically the entire backbone of his musical knowledge. And here with Piccolo, you know, he's trying to understand, maybe try to loosen up a little bit from his regular routine, and maybe that'll be valuable here, but here comes Piccolo. And this guy, speaking of vibes, how could you not vibe with this man right here? Piccolo, who we last saw, I believe, in a one-on-one contest with Bruce Lee at last year's ThanksGrappling, in an unsuccessful effort at that. Of course, that was Bruce Lee's new attitude here, that we're going to see him at Revelation come December. That match against Johnny Cage has already been signed, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. You're going to hear about that a little bit later. Piccolo here, when I asked Piccolo the same thing about Reptile. You know, they're two different guys. They faced each other in a match, Piccolo versus Reptile, and that was a match that I believe Piccolo came out on top of. And Piccolo said, you know, some guys just need to know how to boogie, and some guys need to know how to woogie, and some guys are green, get a good shirt, they know how to be the best at what they do, both in wrestling and acquiring all of the assets, every asset on a Saturday night. At least that's what he said to me. You know, there was a lot more jiving and shucking and genital flagellation that I'd prefer not to get into discussion with here. But we've got a tornado tag match, folks, and that means that there's no countouts. Oh, what a clothesline. There are disqualifications, but the first team to get a pin, one pin, is the winner. There's going to be a lot going on here. Referee Luke Goss assigned to this contest. And from what I hear, we are going to see a match with the Greasy Green Gigolos coming up at the Revelation event in December. The date and location yet to be announced, but that will be in the coming weeks. But in the meantime, we still got ThanksGrappling coming up, and what a fireman's carry, take a drink. Double shoulder block by Piccolo. But right now, the Greasy Green Gigolos have got this very much in their favor. But we know just how resilient Valiente and Ollie Cannoli are. Valiente, last time we saw him was a victorious effort against Chavo Guerrero and Rey Mysterio in a triple threat match that was quite entertaining to watch and could have gone either way, and a nice Northern Lights suplex by the man. And now, oh, what a sweeping DDT down by Ollie Cannoli. And Ollie Cannoli, a lot of people question why the fans whistle at Ollie Cannoli, and Ollie's responded to that saying, you know, he's just so much of a star. He's so much of a mainstream, delectable dessert of a man that the crowd has no choice. You know, the ladies woo at him, the males woo at him, and he's cool with either. And, you know, I got nothing to speak on about that, but Ollie Cannoli and Valiente, what a weird combination these two had, but they shared a bond from their GutCheck days. And that's what has allowed them to really, you know, the first CIW GutCheck champions were Ollie Cannoli and Valiente. They certainly have a chemistry as a tag team. I know that they would both love to be in the CIW Tag Team Championship equation, as it were. And of course, you have to imagine that a win here would help them do that. And at the same time, will that chemistry, what a Russian leg sweep there by Ollie Cannoli, will that experience factor be a difference maker with a team that is tagging for the very first time in the Greasy Green Gigolos? Nice thigh squeeze to the face by Reptile. Referee Luke Goss has got his hands full here. Of course, can call for disqualification, but it's really first pinfall or submission is the winner. As we know, just breaking the fourth wall a little bit, this game loves countouts a little too much. What a half Boston Crab, but his other foot was on the ropes. And that allowed Ollie Cannoli had to be forced to break the hold, and did. A nice arm drag, and now Valiente going for the Valiente Plex and nails it onto Reptile, but Piccolo right there, and Valiente noticeably not going for the cover. Maybe knew that Piccolo was still a little too fresh, and maybe Reptile's still a little too fresh. We are still early into this matchup. And both of these teams would obviously love a win to advance their stature here in CIW. Of course, they're both going to be probably interested in the tag match between two members of Satan's Soldiers in Waluigi and Dr. Dirty, the current CIW tag champions, going up against Incredizone in Mr. Incredible and Frozone after their first match ended under auspicious or suspicious circumstances. And I cannot speak anymore. Some suspicious circumstances, folks, and the nerve gas here that Michael Corleone has put in to make sure that the fans are having a good time seems to be hitting me as well. And speaking of me, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 weeks, in a couple matches from now, in our third hype match before ThanksGrappling, Abe Bizzle rejoins the table, and he, of course, will be here to cover the ThanksGrappling event. That will not be just me, but we are doing a couple of these just me, and now another Boston Crab, this time Piccolo onto Ollie Cannoli there, and kicking the arm and shoulders is Valiente, those educated feet. Valiente has really been impressive. So quick, so agile, but also can really get the power game going to his favor. And, you know, he really is a valiant man, and he's also a resilient man. And he has shown that time and again. A guy that many have been clamoring could go on an Exceeds Championship run if given the right opportunity and the right opening. But, of course, we're going to see the match between Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot, stipulation to be determined, at Revelation in December. So stay tuned for that. I know I said I wouldn't talk about Revelation, but it's all coming up, folks. It's all coming up now. Oh, what a drop kick into the corner. And Ollie Cannoli now into the corner. Valiente and Piccolo now square off in the ring. Neither of these teams really able to get a majorly distinct advantage. We've seen Valiente hit his Valiente Plex, but that is about it. And Reptile with a kick countered by Cannoli, but a drop kick that does connect. Sweeping DDT by Valiente. And the action is fast. Piccolo, the largest of these competitors, and trying to use that power game to his advantage as best as he can, but that doesn't mean that these other three competitors aren't going to equally use that power, as evidenced by that great suplex by Valiente, who is just so fast. Oh, wait a second. What are we seeing here? The pile driver and the beam cannon, I believe it was. Special beam cannon, pile driver 1 could be over here. And no, Ollie Cannoli kicking out at 2, and Reptile had Valiente in the corner. It was the perfect tag team setup, but it wasn't enough. And you know, we were talking earlier about whether the experience factor and gelling as a team was going to influence who was going to be the victor here, but you got to give credit to Piccolo and Reptile for really trying to bridge that gap. But what a clothesline, a hard clothesline from Ollie Cannoli. You know, you got to give credit to that guy for as small as his waist is. He's a teeny guy, but everything that he lays and he throws, he lays in. You know, he connects and he hits hard and he puts all of his body into it. And you got to give credit to a guy like that who's really going to sacrifice his own well-being for the sake of damaging somebody else. And now Reptile has got Valiente in the ring. Cannoli Piccolo out of the ring. Pinfalls only count in the ring. But again, there are no countouts in this matchup. Thank God, because countouts are the worst. And now what a leg grab inverted screw kick. Lol. And now Reptile with a dragon screw. As if in retaliation. These two teams so skilled. So evenly matched. You're seeing it here tonight. You got to give credit to all of these individuals. And that's why CIW has the best talent around when it comes to the E-Federations of the entire interwebs and all over the world. Colonial Impact Wrestling really brings you the best action there is. And now, wait a second, Valiente, speaking of, setting up Reptile for another Valiente Plex, and he nails it center of the ring. But Reptile getting right up, Piccolo on the outside, Cannoli on the outside, and now Reptile, you want to talk about resilience, Reptile kicking out of a, or not even kicking out, just getting out of a second Valiente Plex. Very powerful here. Wait a second, Cannoli driver onto Piccolo, and is that going to be enough to seal it for Valiente and Ollie Cannoli? The cover here, 1, 2, and no, only 2. And right in front of that was a belly-to-belly to Reptile, and you want to talk about team chemistry. Ollie Cannoli and Valiente moxing their proverbial guns. But only one team will be victorious. Now a cover here onto Reptile, 2, 3. I'm not even sure what Valiente did, but Reptile just, I guess, just gave out from that Valiente Plex. You saw him holding his head. But the victors, Valiente and Ollie Cannoli, and this win streak for Valiente continues. What a matchup. And this is only one match. We've got another one next week and a one the week after that. And of course, ThanksGrappling coming up on the 24th on The Colonist. Your winners, Valiente and Ollie Cannoli. And we will see you next week, folks. We're on our way to ThanksGrappling. See you then.